Hello, book besties.
I'm Alby.
And I'm Nikki,
Welcome to Backstage with the Book Babes.
where we spill the tea on the secret lives of your favorite romance authors.
We've got two amazing authors with us today who co-write under one pen name. So we're super excited to introduce you to them. But first off, what have you been up to, Nikki?
Just holiday season madness. We're just coming out of Christmas, so it's been a lot. But I did, we were talking about how we're cold all the time the last time, and you have your giant cat blanket with the ears and everything. My husband gave me one for Christmas, so I've been warm, so that makes me happy. It's purple, just plain, but yeah. So I'm staying cozy. How about you?
I am deep into editing and writing our roller derby romance that comes out in February. So,
exciting.
Yeah. Keeping busy.
Yeah. I got character art for mine. I'm so excited to share that. I'm going to put it on my newsletter first. Yeah, it's so pretty.
Sweet.
So that's what's going on with us. Yeah. Yeah. See it? That's what's going on with us. But we're very excited to introduce you to the authors behind the pen name Willa Drew. So a big book babe welcome to Gala Russ and DL Croisette.
Welcome.
Hello. It's so nice to be here. I'm DL Croisette, and I am one half of Willa Drew. I am the Willa Drew, the Willa part of Willa Drew.
Hi, I'm Gala Russ, and I'm the Drew part of Willa Drew. Should we tell people why we ended up being Willa Drew?
Go ahead. Tell us about your author, Mute Cute, and why you decided to co-write together under the pen name. Yeah.
Sure. So Gala and I both originally started writing on a serial writing site called Wattpad, which you may or may not have heard of. Still around, and some of our stories are still on there. The early versions of our stories. And I had a book on there that was on writing craft. It was called Writers Helping Writers or Writers on Writers. And I took famous quotes from famous writers, and I would give like sort of my perspective on what they mean. So like, Ernest Hemingway's, write drunk, edit sober, stuff like that. And Gala commented on that. And then we started a conversation, and then we read each other's books, and we started talking about each other's books. And one day, this was back in 2020. Yeah, December 2020. And Gala was at her in-laws, and she's like, I need something to do. Would you like to co-write a short story together? And I was like, she wants to write with me? Below me? Okay, sure. So we started writing a little meet cute Christmas themed story, and we put it up there on Wattpad, and it got some response. And then our people who read it were like, so where's the next edition of this book of these two characters, Sarah and Nick? And what we had done is we had taken a character from Gala's story on Wattpad and a side character from my story on Wattpad, and they happened to be in LA at Christmas time, so we had them meet. So their meet cute was kind of our meet cute in a way. And things just sort of steamrolled from there. Kisses, Lies, and Us is the first book that we ever wrote. And then we published it. We decided to publish together. And then we just sort of kept going from there and there. But it's kind of a funny story as to how we came up with the name of Willa Drew. And I'll let Gala tell that.
As we mentioned before we started recording, is that our each individual names aren't always that easy to pronounce. And when we created them, that was not what we were thinking about. And when we were creating Willa Drew, it was because we decided to publish it on Kindle Vella. And Kindle Vella at that point, it no longer exists. But at that point, it just was about to start up, and they didn't let you at the beginning to put two names on. You only had one author namespace. And we're like, well, we're going to have to come up with one author namespace, because originally Wattpad, we were putting both of our names on. And we spent a good amount of time trying to figure out what to do and how to make it so that it makes sense, can pronounce correctly. We try to put each of our real names together, each of our pen names together. Nothing really worked. And then DL's father's name is William, and my father's name is Andrew. And somehow we decided that because our first pen names are homage to our mothers, we thought, well, what if we could make this one an homage to our fathers? What would that be? Andrew, William, and Willa. Well, William, thus DL is Willa, and Drew for Andrew, thus I am Drew, happened. And then Willa Drew is easy to spell, easy to write, easy to pronounce, but it very much does have a meaning, a deeper meaning for both of us.
That's so fun. I love that.
Oh, that's awesome.
How many books do you have out now as Willa Drew?
9? I think.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, we just released our 9th book.
Yeah.
Nice.
How did that work with like doing the contracts for your working together and setting all that up? I know like KDP, when you upload books, they'll only send it to one person of
Yeah,
that information.
we did. We had to do an LLC, which is International Partnership LLC, which is very complicated. Very complicated.
Yeah.
Tax-wise, especially very complicated. Do not recommend. But that truly was the only way for us to sort of do it, because you're correct with KDP. You have to put one tax ID.
Mhm.
And once you have a company, you put the EIN of the company in, and the company bears all the tax responsibilities and all of the legal responsibilities for KDP's purposes and other publishers' purposes. Yeah.
But how does your process work for the co-writing? Like, do you alternate chapters? Do you outline together? I'm super curious about how that works.
We do not. And our writing process has changed over the years. When we started writing, we didn't really plan. It was more like we meet together and we sort of talk about it and we start writing. One person writes one chapter, the next person writes the next chapter, but not POV specific, just like, oh, I'm vibing with this chapter, I'm vibing with that chapter. And then as we progressed in our craft, we were writing more complicated stories. And we were also writing in a series where, like, when you're writing the first book in the series, which is a novella, you can get away without planning. But then once we got to the We Bland, which is a trilogy, the first one we pretty much pantsed and then gave it to an editor, and the editor said, let us put some structure into this. This is a serialized story that didn't really fit into novel structure. So we actually had an editor do that. And then as we were working with the editor, when you write book 2 and you did not plan necessarily a trilogy in advance, you're like, oh, I sort of want these things to happen. And then I can't, because in book 1, it says that that never happened and you already published book 1, so you can't go back and change it. So we started planning a little bit, and that basically meant that we spent some time up front sitting down and deciding, okay, so what are the things that are going to happen? What is the important goal motivation conflict for these people? And then afterwards, we would just also divide the chapters completely illogically with no rhyme or reason, just because one person wants to write this chapter more and the other person wants to write another chapter more. And we were writing linearly at that point, because like it's hard if DL doesn't like writing linearly for herself. She usually just kind of hops around. I always like to write linearly.
Linear,
But
for sure.
when you write together, you sort of have to write linearly, because otherwise, if somebody wrote the chapter 22 and you're in chapter 3 now and you haven't read that, and now in chapter 4 you're going to do something that contradicts chapter 22, you kind of have to. And so we write the chapters and we swap and we read and edit them, and we swap and we write and we read and edit. And that's not always in order, and definitely never a specific POV. And then once the first draft is done, we both go over the entire thing and edit. And originally we were doing a lot of editing when we actually like this sitting together and editing together, which was taking a lot of time. Then we started more like divide and conquer. You edit this part, and then once you edited that, I will go over it and edit. And the final pièce de résistance is we read the book out loud at least 3 times, you would say, DL, over the course of it. And by we read is DL, Willa reads it, and I sit there and like do the markups of things that I hear and things that we need to fix. That was a very long explanation of the process, but that's sort of chaotic, but also it makes sense.
Nice. Oh, awesome. I really like that method of reading it out, like one person reading it and the other person taking notes. Do you then like swap that then you read it and DL takes the note, like take the notes, or is it always DL reading it?
She's always reading. I never read. I hate reading.
I love reading it out loud. In another lifetime, I would probably be an audiobook narrator if I had the chops for it. And
I feel like
think
you have the voice
that,
for it.
oh, thank you. And Gala Drew, I think she really loves audiobooks and likes to listen to them. So it kind of works out in that way. And then we discuss, what she's marked up, and then I reread it, and then we make a change to the word, and then I reread it, and it's great
Mhm.
because I can never
Oh,
get tired of reading it out loud. I don't know, I just love it.
yeah.
That's awesome.
That sounds like a really good partnership then, where like
Yeah.
you like not like compensate for each other's I don't want to say weaknesses, but like
Mhm.
strengths maybe, or
We
you know what I
complement
mean.
each other. Yeah.
Complement
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really filling that in to like have like one really strong, solid foundation.
But
That's awesome.
reading out loud is something I recommend to all authors because I work as like a book coach and an editor. And if you read it out loud, you are automatically going to pick up a lot of things than if you just wrote it, typed them up. Don't really uh, jump up because you probably have seen that so many times. But when you have that reading opportunity, and if you do not have an amazing partner like I do, in Word, if you have Word, there is actually a function, a read aloud function, and it's horrible and it's like an AI horrible voice, but it still provides that auditory input that will allow you to notice things you can't by reading just with your eyes. Your
Mhm.
ears allow you to also hear the melody and the rhythm of the language, which, especially for romance, you want that extra layer to give you all the feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely good for
Exactly.
catching those repeated words or tiny little typos that slip in there too as a last pass.
Mhm. Oh yeah, and we all have a favorite word that we overuse. You know?
Totally.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
am limited to using the word Bob once per book. It's a thing. I actually contemplate that where am I going to use the bob because it's very important, and it's terrible if something else is bobbing aside from a throat. Let me tell you, because I'm like, I use the word bob and I can't bob a throat.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I'm gonna make sure to use that word in my next book.
Yes.
It's one of those things some people like say, oh, the word moist irritates them, or the word, I don't know, swallow thickly. Like there are certain things
Yeah.
that you as an author have and like, oh, I don't like that word. And for me, that's the word
Mhm.
Bob. And Dia loved the word Bob. So that was the compromise. I'm like, okay, I can survive one Bob a book.
One bob for 100,000 words.
That's hilarious.
There's nothing wrong with the word Bob. It's just like a personal,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't like cilantro kind of a thing.
Yeah, we all
But
have our personal
Yeah.
things for sure.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. So can you tell us about your books? What subgenres and like what tropes are you writing or that you have written?
Sure. I'm happy to talk about books all day long. First of all, we are cinnamon roll hero gurus. Not gurus, but addicts is probably the better word. We'd like to think that we're gurus, but we love a cinnamon roll. We love a cinnamon roll because just the fact that the cinnamon roll men, particularly in our books, are supportive. They're there. They have their own story arc. They have their own stuff going on. They make their own mistakes. They are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. But when they find the one is the one that they will, do anything for. They will be supportive of. They will align their goals with, that type of thing. And we recently started a new series that focuses on second chance cinnamon rolls. And I think we've always had second chance themes in our book, but now we went for it with this series, and we love a second chance as well because that's yes, not a fake chance is the first book in the series.
Nice.
And we really just love that fact of the cinnamon roll who's always been all about her, and she's the one, and he's waited for her the whole entire time. So that kind of just encapsulates what we love. We love found family, which often rotates around that, right? The cinnamon roll is very loyal to the people that he or she, because a cinnamon roll can be a she too, lets into their lives, right? And then they fight, and they're loyal, and they fight for the people in their lives, which I just said. And I think we also really like to keep our books, or at least our storylines, somewhat realistic. I get a lot of comments that people say that they, I felt this, or I felt seen, or this ripped out my heart in a realistic way. We always end in a happy ending. There has to be a happy ending, but you might cry. No, actually, you will cry. Because if you have not cried, either both from something sad, where we ripped your heart out, but then also something happy, where we brought it back together, then I feel like we haven't really done our job. So that's kind of what our brand is all about. It's about, those soft moments, those heartaches, the lighted-hearted moments, and then just the swoony kisses and feels, all that you just want to do leg kickies over.
Yeah, I think that's what people are looking for in romance books, right? That's the awesome emotion. That's what it's all about. But other than that, how about spice levels? What are we talking about? Bring the fire extinguisher, or would you lend your book to your grandma to read?
We have it all. So hang on, let me grab that thing over there. So when we originally started on Wattpad, we wrote Kisses, Lies, and Us. And I showed you the previous cover. Now it has this cover. Kisses, Lies, and Us is sort of what I call middling spice. It has open door scenes, but they are a lot more emotional rather than you see exactly which body parts go where. So this was our starting book. This was kind of where we landed. And then afterwards, when we wrote our second series, which was We Bland, this is closed door. This is a upper YA. So they're 18 and 19 years old when they start in this book. And it is very much about the slow burn. I'm going to spoil it for you. They only kiss in this book. You are going to be so invested in that kiss, though. You're going to be like, just please, just do it. Or come on, do it. Just, you have to. That slow burn factor is definitely something that is a signature for us overall. So this one is not our sweetest one. You're going to be like, oh, this probably is like the least spicy one. But no, our latest release is, I would say, like a G rating. This actually is not a romance. This is a bromance. And this is about a bodyguard and a dog.
Aww.
And there are no kisses here at all whatsoever. But you still get all the feels. And this is our kind of like a charity project. We can talk about that later. So I'd say this is the least spicy. Then there's kissing involved and closed door. This is open door, but kind of you're not going to see body parts. And then our adult series where people are actually adults there. This is a dual POV, dual timeline. So they're in one timeline and they're mid-30s in the other. This has spice. And I always struggle explaining the level of spice because I think everybody's spice tolerance is different. Like pepperoni pizza is spicy for me, and my husband can eat extra spicy hot wings without blinking an eye. But this is open door, body parts are mentioned, body parts are fully involved on the page, and you see what goes where and how it is being handled. This is the best way I can explain this one. So this is our spiciest one in this entire series. So we're working on book 2 is that level of spice. And when we're trying to advertise this or talk about this, we're like, we have everything. What would you like? Yeah. Which level of spice would you prefer?
That's great for when you go to like a book event and then you can just be like, no spice? All the spice? What are you looking for?
Yeah. You can put them out in a row so you can be like, it gets progressively hotter.
From the
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, very cool. And for both of you, like, what is your favorite thing about?
I'll start. It's kind of a funny thing, but I adore words. I know that sounds very weird, but I am like a word nerd. So getting to play with words all day is just so much fun for me. Like stripping them down and stringing them together and finding that sort of perfect sentence that conveys the emotions that I'm trying to get out from here onto the page that make you, the reader, laugh, cry. That's like magic to me. And getting to express that in a way that you can feel the same thing that I'm feeling, that's, again, magic. And that's one of the things that I love about being an author.
Awesome. Amazing. What about you, Gala?
For me, if you haven't noticed, I have an accent. Russian is my native language, but I also speak French. I went to a school in France, Spanish, and a little bit of a handful of other languages. And I come from a world of translation and translated literature. And if you have read R.F. Kuang's Babel, the whole concept that they have there is the magic lives in translation, in how do you translate one word from the other. But I think the original translation is how do you translate what is in your head as an author to the words on the page that afterwards somebody reads and translates it into the images in their own mind. So to me, it is about how to convey a story. And in my mind, it does play like a movie. Like when I write a story, when I have a story in my head, characters absolutely talk to me, and it is a movie, and they have their own desires, wills. And I sometimes try to say, oh, we're going to do this. And they're like, no, we're not. Not happening. Sorry. You're planning because it goes out of the window. We don't want to do that. We're going to do this other thing. And then you have to like, what am I going to do? So figuring out and translating this weird world that exists in my head onto the page so that world now exists in somebody else's head for sure is the magic.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So
I can definitely relate to the translation thing, and yeah.
It's
cool.
interesting because I was just talking about this with my daughter. She tells me how she can see pictures in her head, and I'm like, I don't see that. I just read words, and that's where the meaning is for me. So maybe I'm more like you, Willa, there. But other people do see the full movie, and that's such a cool thing to think about.
Oh, I think of it more as like the words in different languages, they all mean like, if I think of like ankh and regalo and gift, to me, they all mean the same thing. So they're interchangeable, in a way that like in English we don't always have. And so for me, the problem is I always get this from my editor. She's like, this isn't something Americans say. This isn't in English. This isn't English right here. Like you have to like change it back. And so
But I think that gives us superpowers because people who speak more than one language, we experience the concept of that word in other languages. In some words, you can translate directly. It's very like knife is knife, and you use the word. But there are concepts and things that do not exist. And like there are set phrases that do not exist in the other language. And I find that me knowing multiple languages and having that perspective on words in other languages that don't exist directly in English gives my writing a more poetic, more like metaphor, simile leaning language, because I know this is the concept, but I can see so many different ways of conveying that concept that will be like exciting and not just a word. I don't know. I feel like we have superpowers. We speak many languages.
I hope so. Sorry, Nikki.
So we're talking about how we met before. Willa and we first met at a book signing event, which is one of the fun things to do. I know we're attending some of the same ones this year. So what's your favorite thing about meeting readers in person? We're talking about being an author. Now, what's your favorite thing about meeting readers?
So I think for me, my favorite thing is I'm an extreme introvert. Even talking on this screen, I'm going to have to go and like lie down for 4 hours after this and no one can talk to me. But I've had some people who know me come to these events and they say I'm a totally different person. It's just amazing to me to be in a room, which I consider, this is terrible to say, but a very safe space where we can talk about romance. Because sometimes romance gets, some of my friends are like, oh, you write romance? Oh, okay. Like it has like a second grade, like not a necessarily negative, but it's like, oh, it's just a lower form of writing or something like that. And when you're at a conference and you're talking to people and we're all talking romance and we're all on the same page, forgive the terrible pun, but we're all there to talk about the tropes and what excites us. I feel like it's like my place. Like I'm like, aside from when I'm actually writing, which is my favorite place in the world, it's my second favorite place because I can talk about all the things. We can talk about what we have in common, what we don't have in common, what we don't like, what we do like, and all of that sort of just blooms into a thing, and it doesn't seem like an onerous. I'm not scared, I'm not frightened, I'm actually alive.
Awesome.
For me, I'm the opposite. I'm an extrovert. I like people. I want to be around people. I enjoy people's stories. I enjoy learning about them. And I always say that real life is way better than fiction because I have heard so many stories that you on no writer's mind can even come up with the things that happen in real life. And I always seek out, even when I'm not at events, I haven't been going to any events this year apart from the one that we met in Canada in Windsor. I seek out on purpose other writers or other readers and I meet with them one-on-one. I'm also part of the California Writers Club because there is something about the energetics of being next to a human being that to me is fun and energizing and exciting. I am also a big hugger. So if a person on the other end also likes hugging, that's probably going to be the first thing that I will do, because feeling another person's body and energetics, like that's something that is bringing joy to me. And then listening to their stories. And I think it's kind of like going to a live concert versus listening to a record. I love listening to records and I love listening to music, and I do it all the time. But when you are in a live concert, that energy, that pull that you get from the fellow members in the crowd and from the stage, or I also sing. So if you're a performer on the stage, the energy you get from the crowd, it is just different. It is just not the same energy. And I love both, but I probably am more energized by the live stuff for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm the same. I'm like you, Willa. I'm not big on people. I'm more of an introvert. But then as soon as I'm around people who like the same things, want to talk about romance, want to talk about books, and that's when I'm like, okay, I can be an extrovert for this amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like to go home. Then I go like back to my room and like swoon for a while. But if I'm around people that aren't really readers or we don't have a lot in common, nope, not gonna do it. I'm done very quickly. Yeah,
I think
that's
I'm like
awesome.
similar. Like I'm also more of an introvert, and I'm definitely very shy and awkward. But my day job that I've worked at for many years is very people facing, very constant. And I think it's one of those things, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a skill. I think we all have our sides, but I do think that it's something you get a little more accustomed to if you're exposed to it all the time. So for me, I've kind of moved a little bit, but I definitely consider myself kind of on the fence. Sometimes I'm extrovert, sometimes I'm introvert.
And it's kind of putting on that mask, being like, okay, I'm in this position right now. I'm going to put on this costume or whatever, of like being the author persona or being a customer service persona. And then when you're done with that, you can be like, okay, now I can take it off for a minute and just be me.
But I think the author persona comes a lot more naturally, right? Like it's more comfortable to talk to people about romance books than you share a passion. It's a lot easier to get along with people who you share something with.
Yeah.
I think it's always the same. If you share something in common with people, whichever domain it is, it's just automatically easier to talk to.
Yeah.
And I think one of the myths people say, or maybe I'm not an extrovert, but it's like, oh, extroverts afterwards, after an interaction, are going to be like all energized and are going to be like, go and, I don't know, run a marathon. I don't feel that way. I still need, I need my alone time. I always need my alone time to recharge. But I think myself as an extrovert, because spending time with people who are of the same ilk is something I look forward to and want to do. But I still need my alone time. Don't take me wrong. I'm going to go and sit in my room by myself and just chill for a couple of days after a big event, because it's tiring.
They are exhausting for sure.
Yeah. Is there any must-have that you bring to every signing, and that you're like, new authors or new readers who are coming to an event for the first time, like, this is what you have to bring?
So I'd say first and foremost, if you are a reader or an author, absolutely bring good shoes, comfortable shoes. If you're a reader, you're going to be walking around, you're going to be standing, and you're going to be talking to authors or standing in line to get things signed. So you definitely want to be comfortable. You want to bring a bag as well, to put your books in.
Or a cart if you're a professional.
Bag, or a cart, yes, or a cart. No pressure, no pressure at all. We've seen carts. We love carts. And as an author, you're going to be standing a lot of the time as well. For us personally, there are certain things that we like to have at our table. One of the things that we love is our character portraits. We have an individual character portrait for each person. That's Sarah and Nick from our Kisses, Lies, and Us series. And what's fun about the character portraits is that it's a way to talk about the book that's not just about the meet cute and the conflict. It allows us to talk about the characters and what Sarah and Nick are about, and what Nick is afraid of, and what Sarah is, interested in, and things like that. It gives readers another way to experience our books. And of course, we also have the tropes on there as well, so they can understand, what that's about. But that's one of the things that I really love about. I think it's important to have something other than just your cover and you for people to be able to interact with, because not everyone is going to get that moment to talk with you if it's very busy, and some people don't want to talk, or they need to warm up to talk to the author. They want to make a judgment call as to whether they want to dip in and actually have a conversation. So these are almost like an icebreaker.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fun.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So at these events, you meet lots of readers, and that's amazing. Is there anything a reader said to you at an event or online or anything that's really stuck with you in a good way?
Sure. For me, one of the things that I keep coming back to is we wrote about grief in a book, and we made all of our street team people members and our team members cry. No surprise there whatsoever, but they said that they felt seen, because it wasn't just, oh, someone died. It was the way that we talked about the emotions, the way that our characters expressed the emotions, the way the character reacted felt so realistic to them that they not only were they like not there, but they were there, that they had felt something similar in their own lives, and they felt seen. They felt that we were doing it right, and we had, they were part of a group now. Someone else understood. And that's always just kind of really like stuck with me, that we created that emotion, and we maybe, I don't want to say we helped them in any shape or form, but we at least were able to let them experience that and say, yes, I am seen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's not about the latest thing that happened. It wasn't about the words. It didn't start with the words, but we were at Rose City Romance, and somebody picked up, I think it was the flower copy of Not a Second Chance, and they were not like on the fence, but they're like, okay, like these are the tropes that I like. I'm gonna give you a try. And then at the very end, when everybody was wrapping up, I saw that person sitting and reading the book. And I think there is something magical about seeing a reader reading your book. You don't really get that like done outside of our purview. I'm like, can we do some event where the author sits and the readers are just sitting there and reading, and you can just see their emotion they're reading? So it didn't start as a conversation, but she was reading and she was like, what? And all of the emotions were in her face. And I'm like, come over and say, hi. Oh, like, remember, I'm one of the authors. She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, this was such a twist. I was reading this book all night, and I'm just trying to finish it before I have to go and drive on the road home. I'm just trying to get through it. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So many good things. The viewing of the reader in the reading, their emotions, the fact that they were staying up all night trying to finish this book before they go driving. It was just everything an author, I think, wants on their holiday list,
Seriously,
of
that's
gifts
super
from
special.
a reader.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's actually a dream of mine, of like I walk into a cafe or somewhere that I don't normally go, and I see somebody reading, and they're reading my book.
Yeah.
That will be the pinnacle of success for me, I think.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
Nice. Do you have any signings coming up that either one of you or both of you will be at in 2026 so that our listeners and watchers can come find you and pre-order? Can they pre-order the books for events too? Or?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So we are going back to Rose City Romance in Windsor, April 10th to 12th. I think Nikki's joining us. Is that correct?
And so is Alby. We're both going to be there.
Yes, we'll both be
Oh,
there.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
We can have a little reunion.
And then a week later, on April 16th, we're going to be at Pages and Pleasures in Kitchener. And then on May 16th, we're going to be at Love and Romance in Toronto. And then we're really excited because we're going to be at the first ever Royal City in Guelph, and that's going to be on October 31st. So there are pre-orders up in all of those places for Willa Drew's books. And yeah, I'm really excited. It's a lot of Canadian dates so far, but you never know what's going to pop up during the year, where else we'll be. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are those pre-orders up on
awesome.
Viventi, or do you have them somewhere else?
The Royal City one is up on Viventi, yes. But you can also go to our website to see them, and then there's various Facebook groups and stuff like that. If you wanted to search out them, they're also posted in there.
Yeah, but
And on our store. Sorry, you go on our website, you go to our store, and in our store there's a spot to pre-order all of the books.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if you go to willadrew.com, there's going to be a store option. You click on store, and there are going to be 2 tabs. One is you buy, we ship, and the other one is events specific, a lot cheaper. So absolutely do the pre-orders. The prices always go up during the event. But if you pre-order, we know that these are the books that will already be sold, and we don't have to kind of worry about shipping them afterwards and things like that. And you can look through all of the books that are available. And sometimes some of the books do run out or we don't bring. So to get the exact books you want. Also, we have packages on there. And if you get packages, even more discounted. So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and a special
willadrew.com.
edition, a special surprise, a special edition for Rose City. So you have to go check
Yes.
that one out.
Oh,
Nice.
that's awesome. Nice. Is there a
So-
cutoff date for before they have to order the pre-order by for Rose City?
Yes, so it's March 15th.
So about a month before. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing.
Okay.
So let's get back to the writing part of it, because if we don't write, we don't have anything, right? So do you have any like writing rituals, or do you need specific snacks or playlists, or what do you wear? What are your writing session vibes?
For me, listen to what my children call whale music. It is actually binaural beats.
Okay. Yeah.
I have ADHD, so I have a really hard time to start focusing on something. And then if I get into like the deep focus mode, great. But that initial, like, you need to kind of like sit down and start writing is hard. So I use the binaural beats, and I also use, do I have it with me somewhere? I also use a timer. Yeah, here it is. It goes with me everywhere in my bag. So I have a little timer, and I cheat with my brain, and I say, okay, anybody can write for 20 minutes. Like, you can do almost anything for 20 minutes. So let's put a timer for 20 minutes. Let's turn on the binaural beats, and let's try to get into it instead of thinking about the dishes that I have to do, or the vacuuming, or the laundry, or whatever else is on the chore list. And usually the 20 minutes does the trick. It gets me into the vibes, and then I can already go in and kind of be with the character and with the book. I also have an entirely too overwhelming collection of candles, and I do not have a particular reason for each candle. It's just like, I don't know, summer candles, winter candles. So a lot of times I would also put on a candle, and I think that calms my nervous system because, again, as an ADHDer, I feel like I'm always like everywhere. So anything that will make me a little bit chiller and more focused. I snack all the time during writing. DL probably has seen me eating about anything and everything under the sun. But I don't have any specific thing that I will eat, but I do eat and snack continuously. So that's kind of my list.
Yeah, and I Drew definitely turned me on to the binaural beats. And there are some times when we for accountability, we actually write online together. So she'll play the music through the speakers. So I'm lucky girl. I don't have to lift a finger there. And when I'm writing by myself, sometimes I will listen to music, but it has to be sort of classical music. I actually like to listen to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Because if I do something that's emotional, I can put on a nice emotional moment in the movie, and that music will get me into the mood. And if I have to write some action, then I do a battle scene, and that kind of gets me into the mood a bit too as well. I also like scents, but I tend to, I don't have an extensive candle collection, unfortunately, but I tend to choose a scent, or as all authors, we choose a scent that sort of marks our characters. And I tend to sort of surround myself with that scent when I'm writing that character or that book. So, for instance, we're working on the second book, and the main character, Callum, his scent is, I'm in love with vetiver all of a sudden. Like, I don't know, I'm going wild about this scent. And Drew sent me like a thing that had vetiver in it, and I am inhaling it like there's no tomorrow. It's ridiculous, but I'm truly loving it. So yeah, it's a very sensory thing, I think, with the writing. I like to write on my couch because for some reason that room there's good light in my living room more than in my office. My office I feel is like my business section, and I can be more creative in my living room. So
That's
those
nice
are
to
my little
separate
rituals.
those two. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean I do
Mhm.
write here, but
for
sometimes it's
sure.
better to get out of the zone.
Sometimes you got to move
Yeah,
around too. You're like, well, I'm
exactly.
stuck here. I can't do this. So you move somewhere else and you
Yeah,
kind of put yourself in a different
yeah,
headspace. Yep.
I feel like you have to
definitely.
move wherever the vibes are. And then when the vibes are off in that place, you have to move to a new place. And then
Yep.
that will work for a while. And then when that place doesn't have the juju anymore, you're like, okay, new location.
New location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Follow the
I
vibes.
don't write in my office as much because I also agree with DL. A lot of the times it feels like in my chair, but I have a recliner. Tend to write in the recliner or in the recliner in my office. Slow down. And then I like writing outside, and I think DL has kind of a similar vibe. I like writing and reading outside. I have a hammock on my deck. And
Ooh,
that's another
nice.
place where, I don't know, there's something about being in nature. And sometimes I
Mm.
also go to coffee shops because of the same thing. I actually would focus a lot more in a coffee shop because nobody wants anything from me. At home, I have 2 kids, 2 cats, household. And like, it feels like somebody always wants something, and I have
Yeah.
zero alone space. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the library or to a coffee shop, and there's a ton of people there,
Same.
but they don't want anything from me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know I totally feel the same
Yeah.
way about that. It's like just
And I'm the exact
nothing.
opposite. If I go to a coffee shop, I'm going to spend my whole afternoon watching people and making up stories for what they're doing there and how they're interacting and where they're going when they get their coffee or where they just came from. And I get no writing done whatsoever.
So you can just go there to brainstorm and plot. You don't write there.
Yes. Yeah. If I ever need to think about my
Mhm.
characters, but no, I cannot write in a coffee shop. Probably the only writer who can't.
That's all right. That's all right. With both of you working and writing together, how do you like choose your character names and your book names? Is like one of you like the person who names everything, or do you pitch it and like brainstorm together?
We definitely brainstorm together, but I feel like that is a more important thing for Willa, for DL, because she really digs into the research. What does the name mean? Where does it come from? What is the origin? The name is like pops up, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good name for this person. This name matches this person. That's going to be the name. There is no rhyme or reason. And then one thing that we have noticed, it's not always, I feel like now it doesn't always work this way, but when we started, it was ridiculous. I like naming characters from the beginning of the alphabet, and she likes naming people from the end of the alphabet. So we will have all the people named the A, B, C, D, E that I come up with, and the names that she comes up with are like, the end of the alphabet, which was, I think, is less now because I think we're also running out of names at some point after having written 9 books. You're like, I already have a person with that name. And yeah, and we kind of discuss it for sure. But yeah, for me, it's a little bit more vibes and not as mental, right?
Meaningful.
Jill, for you, it's a
Mhm.
lot more like researchy.
Yeah. The first thing I do is check out the meaning of the name and the origin of the name.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I always feel like, yeah, it's so hard to name them. And I write Why Choose. So one of my books literally had 5 guys in it. And then the next one had 4 guys. And I was like, I have several other books
too
with
many
multiple guys.
guys
I'm
to
like, I'm going to
name.
go through these names so quickly.
We need to talk because I have an idea for why choose, and I have never written one, but I'm very much in love with the idea. So I need to talk
Yeah.
to you about that.
I,
I'm
I can
also a
help
little
you.
like, can I
She's
do
got a
that? Is
great
that too
system for
complicated?
writing the sex scenes, so you can talk to her about that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I am going to reach out and have that
Please do.
conversation with
Yes.
It's perfect. Thank you.
So you have 9 books, so you have a lot of characters out there now. Which of those characters do you relate to the most and why?
Well, this is a pretty easy one for me. The character that we chose as the side character from my original Ruby Red Sarah appeared in that book, and she was a little bit of a homage to a character for me. And then we made her into her own entire book. And Sarah is Canadian, and I am Canadian, so I get to bring all my Canadianisms, and we've
Nice.
infused we're both very international, so we have a lot of international but we play this very fun game between Drew and I where, I'll come up with a word and she'll be like, what's this word mean? And I'm like, it's a toque. It's a Canadian thing. Like we have a list of words that she's like, she didn't know what a butter tart was. She had never heard of a butter tart.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just threw butter tart in there as Elle's favorite treat because I wanted something a little bit different. She's like, what's a butter tart? And I'm like, you don't know what a butter tart is? Like it's amazing. Now Drew has tasted multiple butter tarts, and so Sarah is also a little bit based on my grandmother. Sarah was her middle name, and she always wanted to be called Sarah. She didn't like her first name. Well, she did like her first name, but she preferred her middle name. So it's my little homage to her by giving her this name, and then she has like a few little characteristics that remind me of my grandmother.
Well, that's nice.
Oh,
My
that's
husband
super
put a butter
cute.
tart in my
I like
stocking
that.
for Christmas. That's my butter tart trivia.
Oh,
Have you ever had a butter tart, Alby?
I've never. No, I live this
Okay.
close to Canada, and I don't have enough Canadian things, I think.
Okay, well, I'll definitely bring
Oh.
one to Rose City for you. You should definitely try
yeah,
one.
we had to solve that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
I had my second character, my book,
so-
my male main
Yeah.
character in the second book of my hockey series was from Canada. So I got to put all the Canadian chocolates and stuff in it. So that was fun.
Excellent.
And then
Smarties.
Did you
Yes.
bring Canadian chocolates with you then to your book signings in America when you came?
I bought butter tarts. I didn't bring the Canadian chocolates. I don't know if Nikki did, but we bought butter tarts. So usually probably almost wherever we go, I bring butter tarts. I have a little stand for them and everything. It's kind of like a little bit of a talking point as well.
I usually
Ooh,
bring
like
the
that.
Canadian chocolates when I go to US ones for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I love it.
I think that for me, the two characters that I most relate to is, so as we established, I'm an immigrant, so I have always been putting those immigrant stories into my books as a separate author, and I kind of end up squeezing them in here. So in the very first book that we wrote, Nick is kind of a second generation immigrant. His mom is Greek. And then, but the two that I most relate to are actually Will in We Blend is German, and he moves to the US on scholarship. He was his father is a rock star, and he's trying to get to him because he needs money to save his mom. But it was a lot of things that I put into him when he comes to the US for the first time, and he's noticing things. He's like, what is that? What? Why is honey in little bear jars? Or like, there is just random commentary on when you come to the US for the first time and you're like, why are they doing this? What is this? How does this work? So that was fun to write and to put all of my view of what that works. And then I like so Alexander, or Alec, and not a second chance. He is also second generation. His parents were Russian, and then they moved into the US, and he's already born in the US. And it was interesting for me to put in like household and things where you sort of know the language but sort of don't, and just showing how a subculture can exist within a larger culture where he's an American and he does all of the American things, but also there is like a part of him that is still not. I don't know. I feel connected to those two, and also he's a little bit more, and I'm not sure if this is an immigrant culture or what, like you have to succeed, you have to have a better life than you.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I like that. I think and I like that you like mentioned the honey bear thing, because like that's the reality when you move to a new culture and a new place. It's not the really big things that throw you off. It's the tiny surprises that like blow your mind. You're like you don't expect it, and then it just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, this is different.
Yeah, I think when I first moved to the US, the very first thing that I figured out, like the very first big surprise for me was tax. So I went to Walmart and I got enough stuff, and I had my $25, and I'm like, I had like $24.98 worth of things, and I come there and they're like 27 something. I'm like, no, you doubled one of the items. It cannot be. I have calculated. They're like, no, but tax. I'm like, is included in the price? And they're like, no, add it on top. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I not bringing with me? Because I only have $5. Why are you doing this? This is so wrong. Because in Europe, and I think in Canada too. Is it in Canada? How does the
Right.
tax
No,
work?
our
Yeah,
tax
it's
is
already
extra.
included. Is it extra?
It's
But in
extra,
Europe, the
yeah.
tax is included. So you,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was my
Yeah.
first. Oh, things are different. Weird.
Yeah.
It makes way more sense to
For me,
include it for sure.
Yeah. For me, it was when I moved to England, they don't have 3-hole punch. They have 2-hole punch. That's
right.
it. So like I had brought a notebook of 3-hole punch that I could put in my binder. Couldn't do it. I was prepared for all these things, like driving on the other side and all these, but I was like, how can I make my paper fit?
And the
You
paper
know,
is
cut
different
off the
size
bottom
too.
of it.
Yes, exactly. It was
Yeah.
just like I was ready, but I was like, I didn't know how to I don't know what to do. I was frozen in indecision for a solid 2 minutes.
And it's little
Yeah.
things. It's always little things, though.
Yes,
It's the weird
exactly.
little
Oh my
things
gosh.
for sure.
Oh man. Speaking of really weird, surprising things, what is the weirdest thing you've ever Googled as research for one of your books?
The very first weird thing that we have Googled for We Blend was actually so a little bit of a backstory. Will is German and he lives in Bremen and he is a rower and he was going to university. So we went online and we said, okay, he's going to this university. Where is the nearest rowing club? It's over there. How long is it going to take him if he's going to go from his university to the rowing club in the morning and back and he's taking public transportation? What is the public transportation in the city of Bremen that neither of us have ever been to? And what is the schedule? How long does it take? And all of that stuff, because we needed to come up with his university schedule. And rowing usually happens early in the morning. And then you have to go to school afterwards, and he doesn't have a car. And yes, I do not know how many hours we spent, but we spent hours calculating the route between a university in Bremen and a random rowing club.
At the right time of day and the right month. There were no holidays.
Why? Why? But now if we ever go to Bremen, we would know that. We would be
You're all
prepared.
set.
You're ready to go.
We're visiting the rowing club, right? And here we come.
I'll get my semesticata ready. Oh, that's hilarious.
And then when you're writing, have you ever snuck one of your pets or partners or a best friend into a book? Maybe your worst enemy? Names or personality traits?
Dale, do you want to talk about that one?
So our latest book, we wrote a book a year ago for a charity as part of a charity anthology. And we wrote a book about Pablo. Pablo is a real dog. He is our unofficial, I keep saying unofficial, he is our official mascot in our Discord group. And he is the pet of one of our ARC readers, Ashley Miracle, who actually helped us write the book. This is the real Pablo in real life. He has a very successful TikTok.
Aw.
If you want to go on there, you can see him there. He is hilarious. He is spunky. He is fun. And when we were going to write this little story for this charity anthology, it was all about pet rescue. So we wanted to write something that had an animal in it. We didn't really have animals in any of our other books. And we immediately thought of Ashley. So we actually asked if she wanted to co-write this with us. So yes, we have a book with 3 authors.
Amazing.
Just for fun. Pablo is just like a treat. A Miracle and Willa Drew. And Pablo is just a treat. He was a treat to write. He was so much fun. It was a treat to write this book. And then we released it just in November as its own individual book. And then on top of it, just to make it a little more special, we turned it into our first audiobook. And we found this great narrator, Jack Graves, who does Sven is the other character in the book, and Sven is the bodyguard, and he is a side character from We Blend, who was very popular, very, very popular. So we had to give him his own book, and Jack Graves does both the grumpy bodyguard and he does Pablo, and you just have to hear him to understand Pablo. Pablo is this like bundle of energy and happiness and joy, the exact total sunshine to Sven's grumpiness. So we probably will see more Pablo because we love Pablo.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
it's a great story.
for us to actually, how do we incorporate also our families? So my daughter actually drew the cover for the book, and this
Oh, I love that.
Sven and Pablo for the stickers,
So cute.
involving
Oh, I
family.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So, speaking of things that we put in books and tropes specifically, actually, are there any tropes that you are like, I'm never going to write that trope, or that you would be very hesitant to write, either individually as DL and Gala or as Willa Drew?
Sorry, that was my timer
I
beeping
don't.
when
Oh,
that's
you're
what I
fine.
was telling you. I am not a fan of bully romance. I have read some bully romance that I enjoyed reading, but I think it is something that would be really, really, really hard for me to write because I feel like I'm always looking for the goodness in people. And I am totally okay with enemies to lovers, but like the on purpose bullying somebody is a little harder. Like I can't see myself writing it. But again, I have read some that I did enjoy. It will be just a harder thing for me to write for my brain. However, that's probably the only one. I like darker stuff. I like darker stuff, but I need it to be justified. Like I need for the enemy to be an enemy for like a really, really good reason. And I'm like on the enemy's side a little bit as well for that to work. It's a lot of work to write that.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that.
Yeah, and for me, I'm the same. The bully thing is just not something that I don't know how to write, and it's kind of a similar thing. I'm not a big fan of the surprise pregnancy trope. Either, oh my gosh, I have a son that's 18 years old, or oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. It's just not. I don't have any kids. It's not my lived experience. I'm not against writing one. I've read some that I like, but it's not my go-to trope in any way, shape, or form. It would probably be the last thing. Like if I see that, I'm like, oh, do I want to read that? Do I want to write that type thing? But I do know that Drew really, really wants to write one. So
So you might
someday,
end up.
you never know.
Well, partially, she kind of wrote one a little bit because Will is a surprise son to a rock star, and he comes
Yeah, I did.
and
The first
has
one,
to
yeah.
find his father. Yes, this kind of storyline that I do enjoy. I have a lot of family drama and trauma with my biological father, so I love putting father conflicts everywhere. And in the other book, In Kisses Lies in Us, there is also like a dad redemption arc. Yeah, it's a signature thing for me. But I have had two pregnancies, so I do like writing about being pregnant or not being able to get pregnant because
Yeah.
this is also an experience that I went through and how hard sometimes it is to get pregnant. And then how hard it is to live through pregnancy, even though you really wanted to be pregnant, but this pregnancy is kicking your butt.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good place to put a lot of care. And I think romance is a lot about care when the couple cares about each other. And I think that gives that opportunity to show whether this is your child or not your child. You have to be like, the care has to ramp up. And that's so delicious to me as a reader to see a partner taking care of the other persons with like such gusto.
Yeah.
That's why I like cinnamon rolls because the caretaking is a big part of being a cinnamon roll
Yeah.
hero for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. And I have two
Awesome.
kids as well, and I feel like the first few years of their life is one of the hardest times of your life, but it's also one of the times where you're the closest with your partner and you're like a team and working together if you have a good partner, right? So it is a very
Yeah.
emotional and caring time for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Hard time, but also it's going to build the couple if this is a good couple, right? It's going to
Exactly.
get them through and get them stronger as in the end, or it's going to show that you guys are not supposed to be together,
Show the
right?
cracks
It's
and
very
and fractures and everything. Yeah.
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 Whenever I feel like whenever people say, "Oh, our relationship is on the rocks, let's have another kid," I'm like,
No.
not a good
Yeah.
idea. It's probably going to break you up for good because you need to already have a solid relationship because a kid is just so much extra work.
Yeah. So much for sure.
Yeah.
So is there one question you'd like to ask readers? So what we do is we have you guys ask the readers a question. We're going to post it on our Instagram or they can comment on the YouTube video. So is there one thing you love to ask the readers?
I have one question that I've always wanted to ask the readers. I never got a chance. So there's a hypothetical scenario. Imagine the world where ebooks, paperbacks, hardbacks, and audiobooks are all the same price. Let's say $5. No matter which format you buy, $5. But you can only buy one, and that is the one that you have to be actually consuming the book via. So you cannot buy, like, I usually consume stuff via audiobook most of the time, but then I buy, you see all of those shelf trust.
Same.
They probably have not been opened.
Yeah.
They're in pristine condition.
Same.
If you're not allowed to do that, if you can only buy one format, they all cost the same, and that is how you have to read that book, which format would you get?
We're really good at writing side characters. The Kisses, Lies, and Us book had a side character, Siobhan, in it. And we had a lot of requests for her book. So Kisses, Lies, and Us. So Starstruck became her book. It's a cute little novella that we gave her a story to. You will find a lot of cross-pollination in our book. Sarah and Nick are in We Blend and We Balance. And then Will and Elle from We Blend are in Sarah and Nick's book in the Kisses, Lies, and Us. And Siobhan is in both of those books. Sven is in all of those books. Sven has his own book. We have a very interconnected universe. So you can kind of pick our books up in one little spot. Yes. Even our newest book, Not a Fake Chance, is connected to We Blend through music. We have a love of music, so there's a connection there. And further down the road, one of the characters in We Blend will actually get her own book in the Not a Second Chance Billionaires world. So yes, we definitely are side character obsessed.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have like a map that you like keep track of like how everything connects?
Kinda. We have a reading order that kind of links them sort of together, and that's how we present it to our fans.
On our website, if you go to willadrew.com, there is a reading order because there is a sort of how the universe has developed, and it says read these, and then in this book this characters pop up. So now you can read this, and in this book this character pops up. So yeah, it's on our first front page on willadrew.com.
That's very helpful.
Awesome. Very
For
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
So in terms of being an author, what's one thing other than money that would be the ultimate sign that you've made it as an author? I think you already answered this, Gala, when you were talking about seeing a reader read your book. How about you, Willa?
Yeah, I think I've kind of answered it in a way too, because the many people, but particularly that one Discord ARC team person who said that they felt seen. Like feeling seen by one of our readers is like the greatest compliment. I feel like I am an author now because I was able to, with the help of Drew, to achieve that.
Amazing. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
That's awesome. Speaking of achieving things, and in this case, winning things, which of all your characters would win a dating show and which one would get kicked off after night one?
So for me, 100% Siobhan would win a dating show. She's very honest, but in this way that makes you like love her and want to be her best friend. She'll tell you the truth, but she'll do it in this way that just kind of like, she's funny, she's outgoing. I am 100% sure the other contestants would actually be rooting for her to win. They would be helping her win. She's just that type of person. She's so much fun. But on the opposite end, I'm pretty sure that Alec from Not a Fake Chance would get kicked off the first night, probably of his own accord. And let's just say he's a little grumpy. And unless Rose was in the competition, he would not be interested in any way, shape, or form in even being on this show. I'm sure his best friend Callum would have got him on the show somehow, but he would be doing it under duress and would just be like, this is not happening.
It's hilarious.
I agree. That's the range for sure. We have one more character who is a side character right now who probably is even grumpier than Alec, but he doesn't have a book right now, so we can't quite divulge that yet.
Eventually, maybe he'll join the getting kicked off.
Even worse than Alec. Yeah.
Amazing. So in terms of your covers, I see you have gorgeous illustrated covers. Do you do any of the spicy covers? Do you love them? Do you hate them? The ones with the chests and the, abs?
So
Oh, yeah,
we
you do
we
have the
attempted a
one, yeah.
slightly different version of a spicy
Yeah.
cover. We chests are great. I love a good chest. Don't get me wrong, but I love hands, and
Yeah.
I'm a little obsessed with hands. There's a hand issue going on. So this new series, all of the covers will have hands on them, and not a fake chance that was one of my favorite photos. Is this? There's just something powerful about this, but there's also like hands do good things. So
For
let's have a
sure.
good pair of hands.
Especially in romance
Abs are great, but
books.
hands could be more useful.
That's true. Maybe you're gonna start a whole new trend in the
Yeah.
book covers.
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Spicy hand
I think
covers.
we should.
Yes, I'm for it.
Nice,
For sure.
nice. And then one thing we like to ask all of our authors is, when you do launch a book, how do you celebrate? Do you make like a big plan? Do you do something small? Are you hiding under a blanket?
Willa, you take that one.
Sure. Unfortunately, we're never really in the same place. We did once, twice together, launched together. We were in the same place, but usually we're not in the same place. So we can't really have a big celebration together. We'll do things like we'll do lives, and we'll definitely talk or stress on the day. But when we do get together, which is at least once a year, we try to get together and we have a specific drink. We order a old fashioned, which is very important to one of our books, and it happens to be a drink that we both like very much. It plays an important role in Kisses, Lies, and Us, which was our very first book that we wrote together, and it is in the very first scene that an old fashioned is ordered. So we raise a toast to each other that way.
That's so nice.
That's so
I love that.
nice.
Yeah. What a great tradition. And so we only have one more question for you. We asked this of everyone too. If you could read any trope for the rest of your lives, could be a trope, subgenre sort of thing, what would it be?
For me, it will be friends to lovers, because I think that there's so many ways that can be spun. And I think that a real strong couple is based on friendship, that friendship comes as either first or whichever way, but it is a biggest block for me of a solid relationship. And there are so many ways you can spin friends to lovers. There's so many subtropes you can do your pregnancy, and you can do she's all grown up, and you can do second chance, and you can so many other things that you can couple with. So I feel like I will never get tired of friends to lovers.
One. How about you, Willa?
If
What
for
about you,
me,
Dia?
Yeah, for me, it's second chance. I love, there's just something about the fact that there's already an established relation. There's already something that's happened. There's already emotion there. We're starting off with emotion, and something somewhere went wrong. And that opportunity to get a chance to explain, redo, make up for the 1,000 different ways that you can resolve a second chance issue is just something that I love. I love seeing characters who have a bit of hurt already in this relationship work through that and come out the other end so much stronger. It was worth the pain. It was worth the effort, and in love.
Amazing. Yes.
Nice.
I agree.
Oh, those are good choices. Yeah. I like it. All right. Well, thank you both so much for coming out and letting us peek behind the curtain of your author lives. Before we forget, can you tell us what you're working on right now, the next book, and when it will be released?
We mentioned that we have a new series that we started this year, and it is Second Chance Billionaires, and comes in 2 cover options, the hands and the flower. And book 2 is right now being edited, and I'm not sure if that's going to show up or not. I'm going to cover up the other books that are coming up, but the next book is going to be not a second chance. And you can see there is the hand with a tie over there. And then there is another option. I don't have
Hand
it
obsession.
printed out yet. Yeah. The flower cover, there's that flower cover option too. And as you might have guessed from the title of the series, it is a second chance story. And it is a billionaire story. It is just like the first book, and then and now storyline where Callum and Olivia met when they were in college 12 years ago and had a secret relationships. And that series is spicy, so they have spicy lessons secretly
Nice.
behind everybody else's
Love
back. Nobody else
that.
knows. And then it doesn't work out for a good reason, and then prepare to cry. And then they meet again in the now, where Olivia is an heiress in a giant hotel corporation, and they just acquired the company that Callum and his friend Alec from book one sold to them. And now Callum has to kind of help them integrate it. And at the same time, Alec and Rose from book one are getting married, and Callum is best man, and Olivia is her sister's, what is it called? Bridesmaid, right?
Maid of honor.
Maid of honor. Thank you. Maid of
yeah,
honor.
yeah.
So they have to work together on the wedding stuff as well. So there is a lot of forced proximity in the now. And they basically have to relearn each other and refigure things out. And yes, absolutely, there is a happily ever after. But how are they going to get there?
That sounds
Tune in.
fantastic. Yeah.
Right? Tune in, and it's coming. We don't have a date yet, but the goal is to have it published before Rose City.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that it is available for Rose City to purchase. That's our plan. And once we know for sure, once it goes through the editor and we know for sure which state it is in, we're gonna announce the actual release date.
Beautiful. I love that.
Perfect.
But you can
that's
pre-order
awesome.
it.
Yes. And speaking of pre-ordering it, where can your listeners find you to pre-order it, or where they can find your books? And we'll post these links in the show notes as well.
WillaDrew.com has everything. You're going to find a store tab, and in a store tab, you can either get stuff directly from us signed, and you can go to the second tab in the store, which is events, and you can pre-order. You can pre-order for some things on Viventi. If there's a Facebook group for a particular event, you can pre-order there. We absolutely 100% recommend pre-ordering for events, because that guarantees you a copy, because we can only bring so many. And the stuff does sell out. And because we do have, well, at that point, we're going to have 10 books. It's just hard to bring so many copies of each book. So if you want a particular book, do get it. And we can do personalized signatures for you, for a friend. You can indicate all of that on the pre-order form, and we will do that, whichever you prefer. Or we just can put our signatures in it. That's also totally fine.
Perfect.
Awesome.
You can also
Awesome.
find Falling for the Rockstar's Daughter, which is We Blend, and that entire series, it's available on Kindle Unlimited. That's our only series that's available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have that service, you can do that. And just want to mention that our Taming the Grumpy Bodyguard, which is the newest book, the one about Pablo and Sven, the bodyguard, all proceeds of that, of the ebook, the paperback, and the audiobook, all go to charity. They're all going to an animal charity. We'll do one every quarter so that we can give
All the
back. That's our way of
profits.
giving back,
Yeah.
because that's very important to us. It's another theme in our books too.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of nonprofits and giving back. I feel like in every single book, we have some kind of organization that either the rich people in the book are sponsoring, or the people who don't have the money are being involved in as the recipients. So it's a big thing. And everywhere that books are sold, like you can buy everywhere online, like Barnes & Noble and Indigo and wherever, all of the ebooks at least are always on all the platforms wide for you to get.
And social media, do you have a specific handle?
Yes.
Willa Drew Author.
Perfect. At
All
Willa
one
Drew
word,
Author.
Willa Drew Author.
Gotcha.
Everywhere.
Beautiful.
Willa Drew Author, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome.
And we have a
That sounds
Facebook group, and we have a Discord group for our readers if you want to join
Oh,
that. All the links to that is available on willadrew.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, we do have a Discord group, which we love. We chat with people pretty much daily and have built so many cool relationships to get to know people more. And this is the way where you can reach out and get to know us as human beings the most. We really do hang out there and have fun with people and just chat about random things in life. So
Perfect.
Fantastic. Oh, that sounds great. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out, getting dirty with us. Everyone out there, if you had fun, please leave a review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to your podcasts. New episodes will be released every Wednesday, and we've got an amazing lineup of authors to share with you.
For sure.
thank you for having us.
Sorry.
I was like, thank you for having us.
No worries. If there's
Yeah,
someone
of
you'd love to
course.
see on our show and you've got burning questions for your favorite authors, send us an email to backstagewiththebookbabes@gmail.com. or leave us a comment on our social media accounts. We're on Instagram, Threads, TikTok at Backstage with the Book Babes. And the links and applications for authors to join us as guests are at linktree/Backstage with the Book Babes.
You can follow me, Alby Blake, with that handle on all on all the socials, Instagram and TikTok specifically.
And you can follow me, Nikki Jewell, and learn about my books at authornikkijewell.com. And on social media, I'm at NikkiJewell_books.
Thanks again, everyone, for coming and joining the little party we've had. Keep turning those pages and keep it spicy.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.